right, we just double it, right? That's just 18. So hopefully you are getting a better hang of those. Obviously, special right triangles are not the easiest thing, but 30, 60, 90 is a little more difficult than 45, 45, 90. But, with this little bit of practice, you should be fine, and you'll be able to get some of these really difficult problems down here. I'm just going to do a couple of them with you. For number 10, so this is a 45, 45, 90. So now our ratios, and I suggest writing these ratios out every single time just so that you can keep yourself straight, plus so you can memorize them a lot faster. That's just going to be 28. So the very first thing we need to do is divide that by the square root of 2. And when we rationalize that, that will be 28 square roots of 2 over 2, which actually simplifies out really nice and neat to 14 square roots of 2. Okay. For 11, this is 60 degrees. Actually, I'll keep going. I'll do some other ones. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll do 14 with you. So for 14, that's 30 degrees. This is 60 degrees. So this is your longer leg. The 30 degree side is your shorter leg. And there's your hypotenuse. So I always tell you need to go back to x first. To get from x squared to 3 to x, you need to divide by the square root of 3, right? So that will just leave you with 15. And y, you just double it. Not bad at all. And then 18. So they gave you 38 here. That is your hypotenuse. This is a 30, 60, 90. The 30 side is just x, and the 60 side is x squared to 3. So to get from 38 to x, we just need to divide by 2, and that will give me 19. And then to get from x to the x squared to 3, I just tack on an x squared to 3. So that'll be 19 squared to 3. All right, so for 19 through 24, these are a little more difficult, but I really want you to focus on just one triangle at a time, right? Just one triangle at a time, and it won't be too bad for you. So I'll do, let's see here. Yeah, I'll do 19, 21, and 23. I want to leave you some where you do have to rationalize just to make sure you know it. And I think you should have to rationalize on these 4 from what I'm looking at. All right, so for 19, you have 9z, 30 degrees. So this is your x, this is your 2x, and this is your x squared to 3. So obviously we're trying to get to this one so that we can use that side on the other triangle. So if you need to draw out 2 different triangles, that's perfectly fine. But first off, to get to z, all we have to do is double it, right? So that'll just be 18. That's really nice and neat. To get to the x squared to 3 side, we just need to add or multiply by a square root of 3. So that's going to be 9 square roots of 3. This line right here is 9 square roots of 3. That side. Now, that 9 square roots of 3 is a leg in the top triangle, but it's actually the hypotenuse in the other triangle. So what we need to do from there is rationalize, right? So that's your new, I'll do it in blue. That's your x squared to 2 side, and these are x. So what we have to do is we have to take this 9 square roots of 3, we have to divide it by the square root of 2. Okay, so when we multiply this out, we will still rationalize. And when we multiply radicals, you remember that they go together, right? And that 2 will go underneath. So the x and y both are 9 square roots of 6 over 2. And that might be the most difficult one on here, if I had to say. I mean, all the other ones you might have to rationalize, but when you rationalize with a different number, I think that's the only one where you really rationalize with a different number. For 21, so we have 12, which is, let me go ahead and label my ratios. They just keep me out of trouble, I think, and help me visualize it a lot better. So 12 going to x, we will just half it. That means x is 6. 6 going to the x squared to 3. I'm just going to write over this and call it 6 squared to 3. All right, now that is a leg on a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So we know that y is going to be the exact same, 6 squared to 3. And then z, to get from x, let me do my other ratios. So this is x, x, and x squared to 2, right? So now we just have to multiply that by the square root of 2. So we'll take 6 squared to 3, multiply it by the square root of 2, and you just put those together. 6 square roots of 6. All right, and for 23, so we have, let's see here, we have obviously a 30, 60, 90 and a 45, 45, 90. And the number that they gave us is this hypotenuse, x squared to 2. So we know to get from x squared to 2 to the legs in a 45, 45, 90, we got to divide by the square root of 2. That works out nice and neat, gives us 15 for z and 15 for this value right here. Now from there, that is my 60 degree side. So now I'm going to go to blue. This is my 30 degree side, that's x. Hypotenuse is 2x. This is x squared to 3. So that 15 is x squared to 3. So to go from x squared to 3 to x, we need to take that 15 and divide it by the square root of 3. So we will rationalize. That will be 15 squared root of 3 over 3, which is actually just 5 square roots of 3. So that y is 5 square roots of 3. To go from x to 2x, we multiply by 2. Multiplying that by 2 will give me 10 square roots of 3. Definitely a difficult lesson, not the easiest one that you've seen, but also nothing that's out of your ability, right? So if you needed to pause and go slower and pause this video at any time, go back and go through it again, that is perfectly fine. But the more and more you apply this, the more and more you practice it, the better you'll be. And plus, you've got plenty of practice down here. Don't feel like you have to do all of them. If you do most of them and you get a good hang of it, that's perfectly fine.